Hello, welcome back to Moon Life Astro. My name is Darice, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. In this space, we talk about astrology, planning, and productivity, and we have a few big things happening this week. So I'm going to get right into that. First of all, I just want to check in. How are you doing? I know 2025 has been off to a very intense and rocky start for many people, and so I hope you're taking care of yourself. And I'm recording this ahead of time, so I have no idea what's actually happening in the collective on the world stage by the time you actually watch this. But just because we have eclipses this weekend, the first eclipse this weekend, and we're moving into Mercury retrograde, I'm pretty sure it's probably an intense week, or we're coming up on what's going to feel like an intense weekend. So, just a reminder to take care of yourself. I'm going to go over the upcoming astrology of the week, but at the beginning, I am going to focus on the two big things, the eclipse and Mercury moving retrograde. So, but just to give you an overview of what we have coming up this week, we have a few things actually happening. We have the sun that's going to be conjunct Saturn March 12th. We're going to have the sun sextile Uranus March 14th. The sun will also conjunct the North Node March 17th. The sun will again conjunct Neptune March 19th. And we have the spring equinox March 19th, March 20th, depending on where you are in the world. But like I said, I know most people are watching this are probably more interested in the total lunar eclipse that will be happening March 14th. And then the day after, March 15th, is when Mercury goes retrograde. So I'm just going to go through all of that, break that down for you. And like I said, I'm going to start with the eclipse first because most people are probably going to be feeling that energy already. The first 2 weeks of March, it's pre-eclipse season. And then you have the eclipses themselves. So there'll be the lunar eclipse happening March 14th. And then 2 weeks later will be the solar eclipse. And then the 2 weeks after that is post-eclipse uh, uh, time, I guess, for better words. I'm losing my words here still, apologize. But that 6 week period is typically what people consider eclipse season. Like I spoke about in my previous overview of the major March astrology, this is the eclipse series of the Pisces Virgo axis. We're transitioning out of the Libra Aries eclipse series. So it's possible that during this week, it has become clear to you what you're closing out of and what new transition you are about to go into. I know I currently, at my current uh, full time job, I do this astrology. And on top of that, there have been some major changes announced at my company, my department. And so we're going to be transitioning through that. So I know that for me personally, that's what this Pisces Virgo eclipse series is going to be about for me. I'm looking at what that's going to be like long term for me. But with eclipses, I don't know. And usually that's how it is with an eclipse. You get news or something happens and it's completely unexpected. It feels out of the blue and it's a major shift in transition. It puts you on a whole new trajectory. And during the rest of the eclipse season is usually when you get a bit more information about what that initially will look like. But honestly, it's usually not till 3 to 6 months afterwards that you really know what it looks like. And so I am just surrendering to this process. I'm just going to see what happens in that space. I'm going to observe and just be present. And I'm just going to know that the universe is doing what's for my highest good, the highest growth of my soul's evolution, and that this is a part of it. And I have no idea if I will still be at this same company 6 months from now, if I will have a new position somewhere else or in another part of that company. I also am more committed than ever to continuing to build my astrology business and to keep supporting people in this way since I am loving having this YouTube channel. I love my newsletter and I love having my free community. I recently launched my paid community. So if you want to check that out, there will be links below. And so I just wanted to get into that a little bit. But back to the eclipse, the lunar eclipse in Virgo. Like I said, this will be bringing a focus on releasing what no longer serves you. Virgo energy will emphasize organization, health, and practicality. So, for some of you, you may have a health issue that has come to the surface, or you may be learning more about something that you have to do to address in your health. Or for some of you, maybe you're just simply looking at new ways of taking better care of your body. Maybe you're trying a new healthcare regimen. This eclipse might be a great time to do that because lunar eclipses can be a great way to release what is no longer serving you. And so maybe there is something in that space. Maybe this is a great time to release habits that really don't give you the most energy or help you be the most grounded or the most open spiritually. Only you know what that looks like for you. Or maybe this eclipse may be highlighting a new way of being in your work, in your business, how you want to approach certain activities. So this could be a great time to focus on that. This might also be a great weekend to do some decluttering of your workspace. It could be a great time to look at how you want to reorganize your time. Maybe this is a good time to implement certain practices. For this month, our March focus is on batching, and you can see my videos about that. That might be something you want to take a look at during this eclipse weekend. This could also be a great time to do what some might refer to as a business detox. So clean up your inbox, your email folders, files, workflows. This, especially since we're also embarking on the Mercury retrograde, that is a great way to use that energy as well. To release some of the cluttered emails, the spams, or find a new system for organizing your email, organizing it. I know there's software out there that can even help you clean up your email inboxes. Like it'll automatically sort and filter certain things. And it will also delete things that no longer serve you, or at least put it into your trash folder where it will remain for at least 30 days. So you can still look through that trash folder and decide for yourself, do you want to keep it? Do you not want to keep it? I might actually look into something like that for myself during this particular eclipse. Again, I'm recording this ahead of time, so I'm not sure where I'm going to be or how I'm going to be feeling during the actual eclipse. Oh, that's the other thing too. Some astrologers would recommend not looking at the actual eclipse. Uh, that it's yeah, there's a lot of, well, I call it superstition. It may not be for some people. If you are going to look in an eclipse, make sure you have the correct glasses. If you are in a space where you're going to be able to actually visually see it. Um, I've heard one astrologer say that they like to have the glasses and they actually like to look at the eclipse because symbolically it represents looking at the shadow, our shadow selves, being willing to shine a light on the darkness inside of us. I wish I could remember who that was because I thought that was a really great um, perspective around whether or not to look at an eclipse. So I've never actually looked at an eclipse myself, but this time I might actually do it. Like I said, have the proper glasses. I'm not sure actually if I'm going to be able to see it that clearly, since I know it's not like last year's eclipses where the United States was in the path of totality. Totality. I don't think that's the case this year. But normally for myself, for eclipses, I usually don't do anything on the actual eclipse itself or around those couple of days. I mean, I might do my basic, work, day job, that sort of thing, certain tasks, but I don't add anything extra. I do like to keep my calendar clear. Since eclipses do represent unstable energy, and that's one of the reasons why many astrologers, mystics recommend that you not actually initiate anything major during an eclipse because the power source is literally unstable. Sometimes you might have actual power outages themselves. So just to be mindful of that, to be prepared for that if you are in an area where you're prone to that sort of thing. But my approach to eclipses is basically just to observe what's happening with myself. I usually do feel more physically tired during actual eclipses. So that's the other reason why I personally like to keep my calendar as light as possible. I like to give myself time to just rest and relax and sleep. And given that this is also happening the day before Mercury stations retrograde, whenever a planet stations retrograde or direct, I tend to feel very physically tired for that 24 to 48 hours. So I think the fact that they're both happening on the same weekend is telling me to just keep my calendar light. I mean, I am going to be doing some social stuff, meeting up with some other friends who are also astrologers on that weekend. But that's basically, I think, the only thing I have planned for that weekend. And I'm probably going to keep it that way because I do like having the time to just allow my body to slow down and to relax and unwind. One other thing you might want to consider doing for this particular lunar eclipse is maybe perform some kind of release ritual. Maybe write down what you're letting go, and then you can burn it safely if you're able to do that. Some people they have these little like cauldrons, like you can burn paper in, and then just distribute the ashes outside after they cool down. You make sure they're not lit exactly. And I thought I had written down what time the actual eclipse is happening. I'm looking that up real quick. Yeah, that's going to be March 14th, 2025 in Virgo at 2:54 a.m. And then 24 hours later, we have Mercury in Aries stationing retrograde, March 15th, 2025 at 2:46 a.m. Eastern Time. So again, we've spoken about Mercury retrogrades before. There is my longer video on the major March astrology. You can go through that. But again, Mercury stationing retrograde. Mercury rules communications and travel. And so often there can be delays, miscommunication. I always remind people to be extra careful when they're driving or traveling. Mercury retrogrades, those are not the times to be crossing the street and talking or texting on the phone. As a rule, that's always a bad idea, but it's an especially bad idea during a Mercury retrograde. People are more checked out. Accidents tend to happen more as a result. Sometimes traffic lights are not working. So just be really careful. I do recommend to never drive and text. I know many of you do that. It's a very bad habit. I always recommend that during a Mercury retrograde that you definitely do not do that activity. If you're driving, drive. If you need to text somebody, pull over, park, then text them. Better to take a few extra minutes and avoid an accident. I always tell people if you have an accident, how much time are you going to lose as a result of having to recover from that accident? Sometimes it's better just to slow down and take a few minutes, and as opposed to losing days or weeks of productivity because you got into a horrible car accident. So I think Mercury retrograde is always reminding us of that sometimes it's better to slow down. Sometimes that is the most efficient way to be. And especially since we have Mercury in Aries retrograde, Mercury in Aries can be very quick witted, but especially when it's retrograde, it can have the tendency of people making people more impulsive. Um, you might jump to judgment too quickly on things. So be mindful of that as well. Be mindful that people around you might be jumping to conclusions about things without all of the facts, especially since we still have Jupiter and Gemini for a few more months as well, which can intensify misinformation, rash proclamations. I feel like because it's eclipse season and Mercury retrograde, we may see more of that in our personal lives and our professional lives and on the national and world stage as well. So be mindful of what you hear, the news. This is an excellent time to practice fact checking before reacting to something. In terms of your business as a solopreneur, this could be a great time to review, revise, and reflect. I do recommend not launching new initiatives but that does not mean you cannot take steps forward on new projects, new books, new courses that you're planning to launch in the next 2 or 3 quarters. And again, double check contracts, emails, important communications. Mercury retrogrades are a great time to revisit unfinished projects or other ideas from the past. And again, I'm going to remind you, if you can, delay making any major decisions until Mercury goes direct, which I believe will be April 7th. Another spiritual practice, you could work with grounding crystals, maybe like hematite or smoky quartz, excuse me. That might be something good to have like on your desk space or in your workspace. Black obsidian is also pretty good as well. Oh, and if you're getting value from this video, please do remember to like the video. I need to remember to remind people to do that sort of thing. I get so in the flow, sometimes I forget. If you do like the channel as well, please do subscribe. It does help me get the message out to more people. With that, I'm going to get into some of the other astrology that we have coming up this week as well. I talked about this briefly last week, but I'll mention it again as well. Today, March 12th, we have the Sun conjunct Saturn. This could be a great use. This energy can help us be more focused, disciplined, focus on our responsibilities and our long-term goals. So this could be a good time to lay the foundation, or tackle something that's really challenging to do today or tomorrow. That Saturn, the Sun supporting Saturn, which is our foundations, the taskmaster. I like to think of Saturn sometimes as the healthy, the father, the one who is disciplined, but kind. I know a lot of people don't have that relationship with Saturn. Saturn can be brutal, honestly, in terms of what it rips away. But I feel like the relationship we have with Saturn is often a reflection of if we've been listening to our intuition. I think we can have more challenging experiences with Saturn if we have been ignoring the whispers of our souls for like a really long time. And then that's when Saturn's like, all right, you didn't listen to all the subtle things we were suggesting. So we're going to have to like rip the rug out from under you now so that you finally pay attention to what needs to be addressed. So I think Saturn is often that healthy disciplinarian who is saying, okay, if you eat your vegetables and if you go to bed at a decent time, you're going to feel better the next day and you're going to be more productive. Maybe it's easier if we have that kind of relationship with Saturn. And especially when the Sun is supporting it in a conjunction, it definitely has more of that vibe. So just something to consider. This could be a great time to reassess your long-term goals and your long-term commitments. And if challenges do arise, where is this an opportunity for growth? That is the question to ask ourselves. And this is also great energy to focus on one task at a time, to avoid multitasking or task switching, as I refer to it, especially since we have Mercury in retrograde. You definitely want to do one thing at a time to prevent errors, to make sure that you're not making careless mistakes. Definitely with Mercury retrograde, slow down, pay attention, and double or triple check everything. Double and triple check the emails, the texts before you send them, especially with Mercury and Aries in retrograde. Definitely pause before sending a text where you're reacting to someone. You may be setting yourself up to regret things if you communicate with haste. This is not the time to communicate with haste. Another spiritual practice, maybe you can reflect or journal on your challenges and what you're learning from them. This could be a great time to like take a really long walk if you need to like blow off some steam, if you've had a reactive experience with someone or a really challenging conversation. Take the time to cool down. What else do we have coming up? We have the Sun sextile on Uranus, which is another supportive transit. The sun, our sense of self, our sense of identity. Uranus is disruption, breakthroughs, can be revolutionary energy. So when the sun is sextiling Uranus, it can bring innovation and unexpected breakthroughs, but welcome breakthroughs. So it'll be interesting too to see if anything, if there's an interesting breakthrough on the national or international level in terms of the collective. But also, let's see what happens in our own personal lives around March 14th. Maybe there'll be a breakthrough, excuse me, although sometimes you have to have a breakdown before you have a breakthrough. That's kind of what's happening in our collective as well. But that's another conversation for another day. Uh, my main point is that we might have an unexpected opportunity for growth in a new area or in a new way. We may have a surprising development, especially since it's also happening on the eclipse. Um, this is inv- this is energy and an invitation from the universe to think outside the box, to embrace change as something that's developing for our highest possible good. And again, I'm recording this ahead of time, so I have no idea what's happening on the world stage. But let's say that if something major does happen, maybe there's a way for us to look at it and see if it's helping us grow and develop for the better in the long term. How is it helping us mature individually and collectively? Because again, this is all, of course, again, with Pluto in Aquarius in the backdrop, urging us to change individually and on a collective level for the greater good of the collective. As a solopreneur, this could be also a great time for brainstorming, problem solving, and also trying different approaches. You may want to, for example, experiment with playing with some new tools, different strategies, different workflows. This could be a great opportunity to network with like-minded individuals, to spark inspiration, stay flexible and adaptable. Again, Mercury retrogrades are always great times too to reconnect with people, colleagues you haven't had a chance to connect with in a long time. This could be a great time to reach out to people in other industries that support the kind of work that you do that you haven't had a chance to check in with over the last few months or even the last couple of years. Another spiritual practice to use during this time too is to meditate on your relationship with openness and newness. Where is that a challenge or a struggle for you? And where can you soften in that relationship? We also have the Sun conjunct the North Node on March 17th. Now, the North Node is kind of what I think of as the soul's calling, or what other astrologers is called. It activates our soul's purpose. So the Sun in a supportive conjunction to the North Node, this could be yet another nudge towards our destiny. And again, this is coming on the heels of that eclipse. So there may be something that happens that lets you know if you're on the right path, or if you're not on your soul's path for this time. You may be nudged or pushed in that direction. Eclipses will often do that. And this is also a great time too, like if you know there is something that your soul has been calling you to do, March 17th, March 18th, that could be a good time to take that first step towards what you want to do. And it might be as simple as just writing down, what would your life look like if you were able to have this dream come true? How would I feel if I were able to make that happen? That might be a simple first step to take. This is also a great check-in point too for where you are with your business as a solopreneur. And again, asking yourself, is this continuing to reflect who I desire to be at my soul's core? Am I really expressing my soul's highest purpose or energy? Do I feel in alignment with what I'm doing? Is my business helping me serve in a way that makes me feel like I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, I feel lit up when I do this work? This is a great time to be asking those kinds of questions. And this could also be a great time to begin thinking about mentors you'd like to work with. Like I said, Mercury's in retrograde. You may not want to start that relationship officially while Mercury is in retrograde, but you can begin looking at it. You could begin reaching out to those people. You could be coming up with a list of mentors that you do want to work with on some level. And let's see, we also have the Sun conjunct Neptune on March 19th. Neptune, again, is our ability to imagine, to envision. It can be fantasy and escapism. Sometimes that's why Neptune is associated with delusions and addictions. But we have the Sun supporting it in a conjunction. So this could be a great use of our intuition and creativity coming together. This could be a nice time to tap into our spirituality, a great way to connect to our higher selves. And again, this could be great energy for creative projects or working on things that are creative for your business, like your branding and your marketing. And again, also, since we are still in the Venus retrograde, which is going to be for all of the month of March, and I think it ends April 12th, if I'm not mistaken. So again, this could be March 18th, March 19th. That could be another great time to be looking at the creative branding stuff, the logo, how you represent yourself on social media, your actual physical appearance. Another good time if those other dates I mentioned in my last couple of videos didn't work for you in terms of that new haircut or the new makeover, buying the new outfits, that sort of thing. This could also be a good time to be looking at what you want to renovate, reorganize in your space, maybe even if it's just as simple as reorganizing your desk corner where you work or the desk itself. This could be a great time for that. Excuse me, need to sip my tea real quick. I must have been talking longer than I expected. It's all good. We're all friends here. Let's see. Oh, and with the Sun conjunct Neptune, part of the shadow side of that is you might overcommit, or you might become overwhelmed. So just be mindful of that as well, and think about your boundaries as well, because again, we are still in the Venus retrograde, where I like to think of it as an opportunity to work on our ability to create emotional space and to maintain emotional space. And a big part of that is our boundaries. But this Sun conjunct Neptune, this could be energy to, like I said, infuse creativity into your work, your branding, your personal presentation in the world. And it's also a great time for the self-care, the self-nurturing. This might be a good time to get that massage or take the yoga class. Or maybe you can actually do an actual official makeover or, get that facial, that sort of thing. Oh, in terms of spiritual practices, amethyst or selenite is a great crystal to have around you during this time because they can both enhance intuition and clarity. And I think that's about all I have for today. Like I said, please remember to like this video and to subscribe to the channel if you're receiving value. Just a brief overview of the astrology for the week. Sun conjunct Saturn, that's discipline and structure. Sun sextile Uranus, innovation and breakthroughs. The lunar eclipse in Virgo, release and reset. Mercury retrograde in Aries, slow down and reflect. Sun conjunct the North Node, align with your destiny. Sun conjunct Neptune, intuition and creativity. And next video, we'll talk more about the spring equinox, the Sun entering Aries. That's a new beginning, as spring equinox always is. And that's going to be March 20th. I'm looking forward to that. Again, thank you for visiting with me today. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I really do appreciate it. And I'm wishing you love, peace, and joy. Easefully yours, Darice.